The news out of Detroit is running back David Montgomery making the jump from the Bears to the Lions on a 3-year deal at a time when Jamaal Williams, a free agent who had 17 rushing touchdowns last year, led the league. Montgomery in, Chris, and it sure feels like Jamaal Williams won't be back after having that career year in year 6 of his NFL exploits.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll be back. Of course not. No, I think this contract officially ends that. They got DeAndre Swift is their best, most talented running back on their team, but he's had some injury problems. He did last year. So, this is not only a good combination between, DeAndre Swift and Montgomery. Montgomery, a little bit bigger, power-based. Swift, a little bit more, explosive, can make big plays that way, but still a good combination. And it's a team we know. They want to run the ball. Dan Campbell, they're going to be physical. They got one of the better O-lines in football. Montgomery is an upgrade from Jamaal Williams. Yeah, he had a lot of rushing touchdowns. We know that, but I'm not the kind of guy that sits here and goes, oh, my gosh, all these 1 and 2 yard touchdown runs. What will we do without him? There's, I think, a good amount of guys that can punch some of those ones in the end zone for sure. Montgomery, damn good player, quick for his size. We've seen him do some damn good stuff there in Chicago with not necessarily the greatest offensive line in front of him the whole time.
And it's sad that Jamaal Williams will be gone as the Lions continue their ascent. He could land with the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, his teammate in Green Bay for 4 years. There's been talk of the Bills, even the Bengals, which is confusing because Joe Mixon is still there. And that's the other thing, while I'm in the vicinity, because we're going to head in that direction momentarily as it relates to Dalvin Cook. Today's the day where everybody's got to get their cap affairs in order. And this is the day where, there are bonus payments that come due either today or in the next couple of days, guarantees vest.
Right.
We're getting very close to the point where there's going to be a potential onslaught of recognizable names thrown overboard. Joe Mixon could have an issue in Cincinnati. We've been keeping an eye on that ever since he fell significantly behind Samaje Perine, who has since exited Cincinnati for Denver, I believe. But the touches in the final playoff game, not indicative of Mixon's role in that offense. What are they going to do about his 8-figure salary? So just keep your eyes open because there will be some names over the next few days where you're like, uh-oh, I didn't know that guy was in trouble, and he's going to be out of a job.
Yeah, no, it goes back to the conversation we were just having a little bit ago, the brutal reality of this position. Right? Oh, yeah, you finally got paid. Okay, yeah, all right, we killed you for 2 years. Now we want to we don't want to pay you anymore. It's tough. The Joe Mixon one, I'm really interested. I mean, we know what they got on the radar there with the Cincinnati Bengals and some of the contracts they got coming up. We know that, but they're not exactly deep at that position either. And, I'd like to think, okay, wait, they got somebody else or somebody else they can trust here, but there's nobody there that you look at that can certainly fill that role, especially with Samaje Perine gone. So I don't know where that goes. I would have thought, like, Mixon was gone for sure, and maybe they re-signed Samaje Perine, but the way it stands right now, I'm not sure what happens there in that one, Mike.
Dalvin Cook falls into that category as well of just watching and monitoring, and I hope that the Vikings don't move on from him, but $10.4 million salary. He's got a $2 million guarantee that vests on Friday, and my understanding is, that money's already injury guaranteed, and that shoulder would keep him from passing a physical, which means that $2 million is going to be owed to him. So if they are going to make a move, they're still going to likely owe him $2 million. But would they trade him to another team? That would be a way to avoid the $2 million. There's been some chatter along those lines. But as we've said, this is a guy who's got, 6 years into the NFL now, 8-figure salary for 2023. It's just harder for teams to justify, no matter how good the player is. And Dalvin Cook's great. And again, I hope he stays put. I hope they work something out. But you've got every year that crop of guys right out of college. And as I've said time and again, every major college has a guy who could play running back at the NFL level. As long as he can hold on to the football and he can trust him to pick up blitzers, they'll create the hole, and guys can hit it and they can run. There's going to be that guy from every team. Just the supply outweighs the demand, and that could affect Mixon. It could affect Cook, and it's something that could play out in the next few days.
Yeah,
possibly as soon as today for a guy like Mixon.
It could, but I kind of like lean your way as far as what you're saying about Dalvin Cook. Now the shoulder is a big thing, and where they think how durable can he be, and is that going to be an issue? But if you're somewhat confident that that's going to be okay. Is Dalvin Cook still one of the better running backs in football? I think you would agree with that. You're the Vikings expert. I bow to you there. But like you've always said, there's very few guys that I think you're going to be able to get in the draft where you just go, oh, they're as good as Dalvin Cook right away. And it's not a huge price tag for what they got. I don't know. That's one where I guess I'm expecting him to stay there when all's said and done.
Yeah, and I don't know if they convert some of that salary to bonus in order to reduce the cap number and he still gets his money, or he reduces his salary and builds in some incentives if he has another big year. But he has been one of the best running backs in football, and hopefully they find a way to work that out. The Chargers and Austin Ekeler have issues that they haven't worked out because he sought permission to find a trade elsewhere, and he's received permission from the Chargers to go out there and see if there's someone else that would give the Chargers what they would want for him and give Ekeler what he wants. At the core of this isn't, I just want to play for a new team. At the core of it is, I want more money than I'm being paid.
Right.
And his agents may have reason to think there is someone out there ready to offer him more than what the Chargers are paying him and give the Chargers whatever they would want. But now that process can begin without any tampering. My guess is the tampering's already happened. Now the Chargers have given their blessing to any negotiations that may result in Austin Ekeler changing teams.
Yeah, well, he's gotten to that point again, back to our prior conversation of like, okay, I'm at a point in my career where I got to get paid, and it's not going to be continuing to go up my trajectory here. If anything, it's going to plateau or start to go down. So I want to start being paid for my services, and I'm not a real big running back, and I touch the ball a lot. Right? So I get that totally. It seems like they don't want to pay him. Plus, I could see them having a little bit of different philosophy with the new offense and Kellen Moore. Austin Ekeler, in your perfect world, you want him to be in a passing offense. Like a team we just talked about. He'd be great with the Bengals. Oh, hey, Joe Burrow, it's Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and he's looking downfield. Oh, underneath, there's Austin Ekeler. Boom. He worked somebody like the Arizona Cardinals. We know they're going to spread the field. He's not necessarily your typical bell cow guy. You'd like to be in an offense that's, going to throw it a lot, be in space. That's where he can really thrive. So we'll see if there's a market out there, somebody that's willing to make him, an offer that makes sense for him and the Chargers, and they can get it done. We'll see.
He's in the final year of his contract at a salary of only $6.25 million. So clearly he wants that to increase, and he doesn't want to have to play out this year and then go through the whole process when he's got an additional season of wear and tear and another year of age. And he's already, I think, 28. So
right.
Now's the time for him to strike, and the Chargers are giving him a chance to do it. Let's take a break. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.